Hello and welcome back to our weekly guest expert interview series. And this week we have the lovely Gurm with us, who is an artist and content creator. And we are coming on to talk about the power of being your authentic self and what that really means and how you can step into being your authentic self as well. So say hello if you are popping on. If you are catching this on the replay, #replay. And Gurm, do you want to give yourself a quick introduction to the group? Let us know who you are, what you're about, and all of the amazing things about you.
First of all, thank you, Emily, for having me on, and thank you for all the inspiring things you do and creating this safe space in the group where everyone can just come on. So yeah, it's really great. And I'm Gurm. I'm originally from India, but I grew up as a third culture kid and I've interacted with people from all over the world. So actually I consider myself and my art from the world. So the question like, where are you from, is sometimes difficult for me to answer because I consider myself from everywhere, like I can fit in. And sometimes I consider myself from nowhere. So that's the thing. And I do drawing, painting, mixed media, which is like a combination of mediums. I also do writing and blogging. So I've done like exhibitions, workshops, I'm open for commissions, and I just like to share my experiences and my journey.
Yeah, amazing. Yes. And if anyone has not checked out any of Gurm's artwork, like you will see her posting in here all of the time, like some really beautiful art. I will tag her after this live stream. I'll go back and I will tag her profile and leave her links, so if anyone wants to check anything else out, you will be free to do so. So do you want to share a little bit about your journey with us and a bit of your journey of like you really stepping into this place of feeling comfortable and feeling safe to be authentic in everyday life?
So I wasn't authentic at the beginning. I was burdened and overwhelmed and frustrated with society's expectations. Like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I can't do what people can do? Like my own insecurities and my own failures. Everyone has something that they might not be good at or they struggle with, and that they're imperfect at. And that's actually what makes us human. That's actually our superpower. But I used to consider that my weakness. I was like, I have to hide that. I have to put on a mask. I can't show people the real me. I just have to have a public persona and just, act that way in public, sometimes fake it and just be the way people want me to be and expect me to be. And I can't share with people how I feel or what's, that I'm not usually like this, because people will just laugh at me and judge me and not understand me. And my art journey actually started with me disliking art, and I was bullied and judged for it by my teachers, by my classmates, by society. And I decided that I would never be an artist. And this is something I would never, ever attempt to do. But in middle and high school, I met such encouraging teachers. And in my master's program, I met such encouraging professors, and all my friends and family really supported and encouraged me. So it turned into like a curiosity, into like, this is not a weakness, it's like my own uniqueness, and it's like my own strength. I can turn what people considered a weakness into a strength and inspire them. So that's how my art journey began. And now I like to maybe not share the whole thing, like not get too personal and deep if I don't feel comfortable with that, but just be myself, say this is me, just accept me. And sometimes it's really a struggle. I've been struggling with this for the past few days, actually. Even today I was struggling with it, that sometimes I can't accept myself for who I am because those limiting beliefs and those fears stop me. But I'm like, if I can't accept myself and love myself for who I am, even if the world accepts and loves me, that won't help because I will still be stuck in my own negative or dark circle. So the first thing I have to do is accept myself. So, yeah.
And so what do you suggest for, because I mean, in the online space, right, like it's something that everyone comes up against, right? Like we are wanting to really show up, wanting to show up and share how our minds work, like our unique, the way that we see things, our perspectives, like all of that stuff. And we all come up against ourselves of like, do I know what I'm talking about? Like, is this good enough? What are people going to think? What if people don't like it? And so in those moments, and I love that you shared that, like, this is something that you've gone through, like, really recently, because, like, it pops up for all of us, right? But it's about how we navigate it when those feelings pop up. So when them feelings do pop up for you of, you know, not feeling like you can fully accept yourself or not feeling good enough in that moment, like, what are some things that you do to ride through this and flip the switch so that you're not stuck in this negative cycle of like, oh my gosh, I can't show up and be me, I need to show up as someone else? And so how do you come back to being like, you know what, no, like I am good enough, who I am is more than enough, like I was made this way on purpose, and then really owning that and moving forward?
So actually, it started out with art. Art was actually like my therapeutic safe space where I could feel like myself. So like if I'm actually don't like to share much with like words or open up to people, I struggle with that. So I just do art or write. Like I love journaling and just writing it all down. That's my way to just let it out. Or um, I open up to like my close family and friends, the people who really know me and know what I've gone through. And it's okay to have breakdowns or just scream or just be human about it and just accept that, okay, sometimes we have those feelings and it's not, uh, you don't have to be perfect all the time. It's just a part of life and being human. And if you talk to other people, the people you see that, oh, they're so perfect or they're so much better than me, they have those struggles too. And the people who you think are higher up than you, they have gone through more failures and more breakdowns than you ever have, because you think they're at that level, but that level requires more failure, and failure is actually success. So I remind myself of these things. And then I talk to myself. I have conversations with myself. You think you're not good enough. Is that a lie, or is look at all your achievements? Forget what you're feeling about right now. Look at all your past achievements. Sometimes I go back to my resume. Look, this is all I've done. Look, these are the people who have bought my work. Look, these are the comments under my post. And then I'm like, so does that make you not good enough? What these people are saying about you, or what is, I question myself, right? I'm like, why do you think you're a failure? Why do you think, okay, maybe you don't have the skills other people have, but do other people have the skills you have? Not everyone has every skill, right? So I just keep going back and forth with myself like that.
Yeah, I think that's really important. That's one thing that I always get my clients to do when they are coming up against imposter syndrome, is I get them to write out a list of every single result that they have that makes them qualified to be able to help their people in the way that they are, you know. So like when it comes up with like, oh, what if I'm not good enough? Can I really help people? Like they have this list that they can go back and remind themselves that when they aren't feeling a certain way, when they don't feel on board with it, they can get themselves on board by being, well, actually, like this client got this result and I've gotten this result and this client got this result and this result and this result. And you've got to show yourself the evidence sometimes, you know, because sometimes we just don't feel like it, right? Like our feelings like are so fleeting and up and down that we need to be able to bring ourselves back to that center spot, for sure.
And I also remind myself, okay, you're going through a bad time right now. Remember the time that you thought you couldn't get through it, the last time you had this feeling and you thought you couldn't get through it and you would always be stuck in that rut, you got through it, right? Maybe it was a worse time than this, but you got through it. So why do you think you can't get through this time if you got through that one? So,
Yeah, love that. So what does being authentic mean to you?
It means embracing every single part of me. And by every single part, I mean the light, the dark, the good, the bad, the imperfect, the strength, the weakness, every single part of me, just trying. I say trying because I am still trying to accept myself for who I am. Like, I don't think there are times that I'm fully sure and confident and fully accepting of myself, like no criticism, no judgment can hurt me, or like I have a bad day, I'm like, okay, it's a bad day, and I genuinely get through it. But in the low moments, I recognize that these are low moments. So I think it's just fully being your unique self and showing people that, not hiding that. Because now that public mask got so exhausting for me that I have to hide who I am and just do what people tell me to do, or say what people tell me today, or have to make that wording in that post perfect, or make that video perfect. And it's not good enough to post, but I'm like, okay, so what if the lighting is extra in that picture? I like it like that, so I'm going to post it like that. Or so what if I have like a strand of hair out? I don't care. That's who I am, so I will post it like that. I think that's like being your authentic self.
Yeah, I agree. And do you know what, right? Like when I first started in the coaching industry, I think it's so important for us to be our authentic self, because if not, then we don't really know who we are. And when we don't know who we are, then there's a lot of, when it comes to growing an online personal brand, there's a lot of inconsistencies when you aren't rooted in who you are, because one day you're trying to show up as this person and the next day you're trying to show up as this person. Whereas when you can really accept yourself for all that you are and make, you know what, like, I am good enough the way that I am. And yes, of course, there's always room for improvement, but who I am is okay. Like, and I'm perfectly comfortable in who I am. And then you can show up from that place. Then from a branding standpoint, your branding becomes a lot more consistent because you are showing up as you, and you might be showing up and showing different parts of you each time, but it all stays consistent rather than like, okay, I'm going to try and be this person. And because I remember when I first started coaching, like I didn't know who I was as a coach really. And so when I would show up, it was always from the place of like, is it good enough? And like, right, okay, how do I make this post perfect? And then it just got me in this cycle of procrastination and just dragging things out and taking much longer than what it needed to be. And really, when you start showing up as who you really are and being authentic, like that is actually when you start to attract the most clients, the most people, the most followers, like whatever, like if it's content, if it's business, like whatever, because people are attracted to that, and that's what people want to be in themselves. And so it's a very attractive trait when someone is really authentically themselves, because you don't get it a lot. And so when you can feel that, it's like, I like that, I'm attracted to that person.
And they think that they can relate to that. They're like, I'm like that too. How did she read my thoughts? Or how did he know that this is what I'm going through? Because I feel the same thing. Because as humans, even though we may be different, have the same thoughts and we go through the same feelings and experiences. So by being your authentic self, people can relate to you and get inspired by you. So
Yeah, for sure. So to wrap this up then, right, like how does one embrace their unique authentic self?
I think just forget about everyone for a second. Just when you're all alone, when there's no one around you, who are you? Really, really, who are you when you're all alone? You know, that's who you are as your true authentic self. Maybe like even not in front of your closest friends and family, because even then sometimes you have a role to play, or you're a daughter, a mother, whatever you are, right? A friend, a spouse, a colleague, right? So even then, sometimes you aren't fully able to be your authentic self. So first, really know yourself, right? Really get to know yourself on a deep level. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of introspection. And I had to do a lot of reflecting. And I'm like, if I'm okay with this, and I don't have to show every part of me to the world, right? But if I'm not able to be my authentic self when I'm all alone, just with me, and I feel like when I was all alone, there were moments I was like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like there was no one around me. I'm like, I don't even recognize myself. And I had to do that to get to my authentic self again. So I think like you have to put in that work first.
Yeah, and so like, what is like what's like the one thing that you would recommend for someone who's like, you know what, I don't really know who I am, and I want to really just like, I want to really get to know who I am on my deepest level? What is like the one thing that you would tell them to focus on?
I would say find something you're passionate about, like something you really love and enjoy, and something that genuinely gives you joy. Like you're not faking it, but genuinely every time you think about it, or you do it, or you look at it, or whatever it is, listen to it, it genuinely fills you with happiness. Find that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on, because I think it's such an important conversation. Like, it's a scary thing to really be okay with being exactly who you are, and it is a journey that all of us go on, especially in the entrepreneur space. So this conversation has been really enlightening, and I'm sure it's been really valuable for all of our members as well. So I will tag in the description, and I will also add her link. So if you want to check out her artwork, some of her content, then please do feel free to connect with her as well. And thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will see you on next week's expert series. Bye everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.